Geoffrey here. In this video, I'm going to show you the key mindset mistake that I see a lot of people making when they're trying to reconcile in their relationship. And let's face it, when you go to YouTube, when you read articles, there's going to be a ton of resources that will tell you, for example, here's 7 texts that you can send to your partner that will get her back very quickly, that will try to trick her mind into somehow magically coming back to you. But we need to also understand, and we need to be honest with ourselves here, that our partner isn't some brainless person who will just come back to you and magically just forget everything that happened in the past because of you saying a few magical words or doing a few magical things to try to get her back. So in this video, I'm going to show you what it really takes to actually save your marriage and the mindset you need, the expectations you need when you're trying to reconcile in your relationship. And this is the insight that I've gained by watching all of my clients and the true look into what their journey actually looks like. And for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships or in marriages with the right skills and with the right knowledge to be able to design a thriving relationship for themselves. So if you want more content on this topic, then subscribe to this channel and click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And if you want to dive really much deeper into this topic of how you can reconcile in your relationship, then I want you to join me in my free masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. And if you want to join that masterclass, be sure to stick around to the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can register for that masterclass. So here's the reality check. If you are finding that your partner is more and more checked out, she's wanting to leave the relationship and your relationship is really just falling apart on the brink of divorce or a separation, you have to admit that you've probably been destroying the trust and that safety that is required for a healthy relationship over the course of many years or even many decades often. So you shouldn't expect things to just change in a matter of days, in a matter of weeks, or even sometimes months, especially not expect that it can be fixed over just a few text messages that you can send. And there's 4 very good reasons why this can never be an overnight success, no matter how much we want it to be. So number 1, you have to understand that when you're trying to reconcile in your relationship, you're fighting some very intense confirmation bias that is going against you right now. So if your partner feels hopeless and it feels checked out of the relationship, your partner has probably tried many times to give you many hints over what she's feeling, what needs to be done, how you need to change, to try to express her emotions to you and try to express the conflicts that she feels in a relationship. But either it went over your head over the many times she's tried to express it to you, or you were just too busy justifying and correcting it. Basically, every single time she expresses anything about the relationship to try to make it better, to try to work on the relationship, she ends up regretting it in some way. And so now she's given up and gone to the point where she says, you know what, the only course of action I can take is just to give up on this relationship because I've tried everything that I can try and nothing seems to work. And often the way we shut our partners down like this and make her regret her expressions is often done very subconsciously. So it's often not that we want to be mean or insensitive or abusive to our partner, but often it's because we simply don't know how to respond to it in a proper way. And when this has happened over many years, she's going to be now extremely cautious of your changes. That anything you do, anything you say, and she will be watching you like a hawk to see the evidence that you have not changed. And if you think about it from her side, this really makes sense because if she opens up and if she gets herself to trust you again on that deeper emotional level, and it ends up being a mistake, again, just like the many other times before, how stupid would she feel? She's gonna feel very stupid. It's gonna be very hard for her to forgive herself at this point. This is why your partner, when you are faced with the brink of a divorce or brink of a separation, this is why your partner always says things like, no matter what you do, I'm going to leave. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do to change. I don't care what you say. I am dead set on leaving. There is no hope. Because the reason again why she says this is that if she were to trust you and feel safe with you again and confide in safety with you, this cannot be a mistake. And she needs to be 100% sure, 100% certain on that deeper emotional level before she can even entertain anything that you say or anything that you do. And this brings me to my second point, which is that you're not what you do when things are easy, but you are what you do when things are hard. So because of the intensity of the confirmation bias, there's another aspect here that we must understand about this journey. And it's really not about the 1,000 things that you do right, that you get right when things are easy, but the one thing you do wrong, the one mistake you make when things are really hard. And what we have to understand here is that people with good habits and people with bad habits, they do the same things when things are easy, when things are calm, and when there are no temptations present. So you take someone with an anger issue, for example. The person with the anger issue and the person without the anger issue will do the same thing. They'll be happy, they'll be calm when things are calm, when there's no reason for them to be angry. The key difference here lies when things are difficult, when you're tired, when you're facing resistance, when you're facing conflicts, when you're facing stress and some intense emotions. What do you do during those times? And this is when people with good habits and bad habits start to differ greatly. And while many of us may not be consciously aware of this, emotionally, deep down, we all can sense this, and your partner can sense this especially, which is why during this whole journey, when you're trying to reconcile, your partner is going to make this journey very difficult for you. And this is often not done on purpose, but simply because your partner will subconsciously want to be stubborn. They want to be difficult. They want to be resistant. They want to be closed off. They want to be intensely emotional sometimes. And they will tell you things like, no matter what you do, I will not come back to you anyway, because they have to do this in order to fight their confirmation bias, because they want to know what you do when things become hard, because they understand deep down that you can do 1,000 things right, 1,000,000 things right when things are easy. But it wouldn't change anything that she feels about you. It wouldn't change the confirmation bias she has against you, because she understands that what determines who you are and whether you've changed is what you do when things actually become difficult. What do you do when she resists? What do you do when she calls you out on your bluff? What do you do when she threatens divorce? What do you do when she threatens separation? What do you do when she gets angry at you? What do you do when she brings up things that are difficult for you to hear? Are you going to be relying on your new self or your old self during those difficult moments? Now, if we understand the second point, we will also understand the third point, which is the importance of the 1%, not the 99. So if you watch my videos in a while, especially if you have watched my masterclass, you will know that it's not about the 99% of things you do right, but it's about the 1% of things that you get wrong. And again, this is especially true during those very difficult moments. When things are especially hard, when she's giving you a ton of resistance, what do you do then? And this is again simply because of the confirmation bias factor that she has, that she must be 100% sure that your changes are real, they're permanent and genuine, and she can only sense this when you consistently do the right things when given a lot of very challenging moments strung together. So again, you can do 99 things well during those difficult moments, but again, it's the one time you slip up that's gonna make her say, I knew it. I knew I couldn't trust him. I knew he hasn't changed. And this is just the nature of your journey in reconciling your relationship. Now, I also want to address one more aspect that people often misunderstand, and that is that safety. When we talk about safety, which is your partner's ability to really express herself, to really express her conflicts, her challenges with the relationship, safety gets destroyed from the bottom up, not top down. Which means that it's often the most difficult, the most sensitive, and the most painful things that get hidden first, that becomes the sources of potential conflicts, not the easy stuff. So if you want to create safety and trust, it's not about how we deal with all the 1,000 easy stuff up here, but really about how we handle the really difficult stuff down here. Here's what a lot of people say, for example. People say, oh, we haven't been fighting because we've been separated, or we've been giving each other space. So because we haven't been fighting due to the space or separation, things are fine. But it's actually not fine, because whenever you don't fight or you don't have any arguments, when you guys are not even together, all that stuff, all the moments that you stayed calm when things are easy, all the moments that you didn't fight when things are easy doesn't really count. It's what you do when things are actually difficult, when there is no space, when there is no separation, when you two are together and forced to confront the actual challenges. What do you do then? And it's why separation or space doesn't really heal. It's just a quick vacation from the actual problems in a relationship and doesn't actually build any trust or safety and doesn't do anything to fight against her confirmation bias. It's also why it's not a strategy for you to just keep the conversation light, avoid the difficult conversations, because again, when you avoid the difficult conversations, it's not about how much safety or how many right things you do when you're talking about the easy stuff. It's the what you do when you're talking about the hard stuff, the really difficult stuff that's going to change your confirmation bias eventually. And this is why also a lot of people say to me, for example, oh, my partner is starting to be more open to me about 200 things, about 500 things, about all these things, but she doesn't seem to be trusting me any differently or coming closer to me at all. Well, that's because it's not about the 1,000 things that she's opening up to you about. It's the one thing here, down below here, the most sensitive thing, the most difficult thing that she's not expressing to you that's really blocking her from really trusting you and feeling safe with you again. And this is also why it's a problem when people tell me things like, I can deal with her telling me this 1,000 things, but it's just this one thing, but not when she says this one thing. When she says this one thing, that's when I lose my calm. This is when I lose my crap and go back to my old ways. And so if you're currently in the process of trying to reconcile in your relationship and to fight that confirmation bias your partner has against you, there are a few key expectation shifts that you need to have about this whole journey. So number one is that you have to be able to master the 3 layers of changes that we often talk about in our masterclass or in many of my videos. And this is basically the mastery of the first principles, of the frameworks, or the process in which you can use to really dance around the difficult moments, the difficult conflicts in your relationship. The second level here is the mastering the new paradigms, the new mindsets, so you can be 100% bulletproof. And again, it's not about being 99% bulletproof, it's about being 100% bulletproof here. And the third level is I want you to master the frameworks and the mindset on such a deep level that it influences you on that deep identity level. That now you define yourself as who you are, as this new person who is equipped with the right frameworks and with the right mindsets. And when we say you have to master these 3 layers, I mean you have to master them. We have to raise our standards of how well we master these 3 layers of change. So when we say master the frameworks, for example, we have to be able to master the frameworks to a point where we can handle 100% of our conversations, no matter how difficult, no matter how sensitive, no matter how intense the emotions get. We have to be able to turn the negative into positive and dance around that conversation, that interaction, and take it to a more positive place 100% of the time. And when we say you have to master your bulletproof mindset, we don't mean 99% bulletproof, we mean 100%. We have to raise that standard. And if you don't think that it's possible to master the frameworks, the mindsets, and the identity shifting on such a deep level to where you do it 100% of the time, then you need to really start to humble yourself. And you must understand here that you cannot solve your problem with the same paradigms, with the same set of knowledge that created the problems in the first place. And the reason right now that you cannot imagine a higher ceiling for yourself, a higher standard for yourself, and reaching the standard is precisely the reason why you're struggling. Because that means that the paradigms that you have right now, the knowledge that you have right now is keeping you down here. And the knowledge that you have right now is not allowing you to really understand that it's actually a higher ceiling that you can attain, that you can reach. Because if you knew this higher ceiling exists and you knew the methods of how you can get to the higher ceiling, you most likely have sought that out and actually reached it by now. You have to be humble and admit that if you want to get to a different outcome, to a different place in your relationship, then you need to be able to consider different paradigms, different way of thinking. And it requires you to be humble enough to admit that, hey, you may not understand something. That when you say there's no way anyone in the world can reach that ceiling, you're still using your existing paradigms, your existing knowledge to let you be skeptical of that. And you have to understand that all our clients have reached this higher level that you don't think is possible. And it's possible because they understand the processes, the ways, the methodology in which you can get to that higher ceiling. And the final thing I'm going to say to you here is that you have to invest in yourself first before your partner can invest in you. We have a saying in our program that says, people do not have relationship problems, but people have problems with the self that reflects in their relationship. So when we talk about reconciling in the relationship, we're not just talking about understanding what to do or say in terms of how to conduct yourself in the relationship. It goes much, much deeper than that. We have to not only master the frameworks, but we also have to master the mindsets, the way we look at the world, our paradigms, and we have to change the way we identify ourselves as well. And this will require a great deal of investment in yourself. And it takes our students about 3 to 6 months to really master the 3 layers of changes here. This is not going to be an overnight success. And how quickly you can reconcile in your relationship solely depends on how quickly you can master these 3 layers of changes. The faster you master it, the faster you reconcile. The slower you do it, the more reluctant you are to do it, the slower your progress will be. Now, on a lighter note, I want to leave you here with something more encouraging. Now, this whole journey, the way I described it, can seem like a lot of work. It can seem like it's very time consuming, very energy exhausting. But in the past year, we've enrolled over 200 students just in the past year alone. I've never had someone regret taking this journey of accessing these 3 layers of changes. Why is that? Because if you can master all 3 layers of changes here, your changes will suddenly appear so genuine, so real, so consistent, that it will become impossible for your partner to resist you. And as a result, a lot of our clients actually end up reconciling with their partner eventually. And when they really access the 3 layers of changes, they can reconcile because they can really break through all the intense forces that are going against you, as we discussed earlier on in this video. And when they do end up reconciling, they usually end up in a position where they have a much better relationship than they had before. So we often think that when you are trying to reconcile in your relationship, it's like trying to patch up a broken vase, where when you break a vase, you can try to patch it back up, but there'll always be the cracks and all the nooks and crannies that are not going to be perfect anymore. But reconciling in a relationship is not like that at all. In fact, if you can reconcile, if you can fight against these intense forces going against you and reconcile despite them, you will often end up having a much better relationship than you had before. Because now that level of trust, that level of safety that you can create has really been put through the ringer. And whatever safety and trust you create is going to be a lot stronger because your partner can feel that you went against all her confirmation bias and proved to her nonetheless that you have changed, that you are different, that the future of the relationship can be better. And for a lot of our clients, if they don't end up reconciling in the relationship, because they really understand the 3 layers of change and they internalize the 3 layers of change in such a deep level to really better themselves and improve themselves, they get to a point where they can purposefully and courageously decide that, you know what, maybe this relationship is not for me. I'm going to go for another relationship. Because as they have mastered these 3 layers of changes, what also happens is they raise their ceiling of what they can do, the value they can create in relationships, and their sense of worthiness and confidence deep down. But nonetheless, if you look at the standards, the high standards that the journey of reconciling in your relationship will require you, and the 3 layers of change that it will require you as well, if you can come out the other side as a stronger person who can create a thriving relationship with either your existing partner or with someone else, then you will know that you have something real and something permanent. And our clients basically go through a 6 to 12 month period where they're just trying to grow these 3 layers in order for them to experience a lifetime of bliss here. So while this journey sounds tough, and I understand it sounds tough, you will have nothing to lose if you accept this challenge of saving your relationship and you actually do the work to access the 3 layers of change that we talked about. And a lot of people say, for example, isn't it easier to just leave and start a new relationship? Sure, but if you do that, you don't gain anything. You don't gain any of the 3 layers, you just took the easy way out. And all our clients have never regretted this journey. And these 3 layers of changes, again, are something that all our clients have really mastered, and they've mastered to the point where they can replicate the success, the 3 layers of change, day in, day out, 100% of the time without fail. And because they're so consistent, because they're so genuine, they're doing all these things from such a genuine place, their changes will naturally resonate with their partner a lot better. And they can rebuild that trust and that safety and reconcile in their relationship in a much faster way than if they did not. So if you want to learn more on this, I want you to join me in my masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. And in this masterclass, I'll show you the exact process that I show all my students and how they accomplish and get to all these 3 layers of changes, how they achieve mastery of all of them, and how they use the mastery of all of them to start to reconcile in their relationship. And at the end of the masterclass, if you're interested in applying for the Relationships Revel program, you can submit your application at the end of this masterclass. So if you want to join the masterclass or apply for the Relationships Revel program, click the link above my head or also down in the comments or description box below this video as well. And if you want a free guide that can allow you to guide conversations better and lead conversations to a point where it leads to more healing, more building of trust and building of that safety, then I also want you to download the guide I have for you above my head or also down in the comments or in the description box below this video as well. And finally, if you want to join a community where you can post your questions and actually get good advice from myself or other members of the community, I want you to join my free Facebook group down in the comments below or below in the description box below this video as well. Now, in the meantime, do leave a comment below. What did you think was most insightful or most eye-opening in this video? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video valuable and it taught you something new, then like it and subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. In the meantime, I will leave you with these 2 other videos on more mindsets and more skills that you can use to design a thriving relationship and reconcile and save your marriage. For now, I'll see you in the next video.